the most difficult period and the most challenging period was obviously the time around Tom Lockyer. Yeah, nothing can prepare you for that. And that was probably the most challenging time. And no one can prepare you for that at all, for living through that. And look, I love the guy, but I'm not his fiance, I'm not his dad who were there in the stadium. I'm not, he's one of my team members, and for what he's done for me and for this football club, I'll always love him and love him for the person that he is. But then it became bigger than football and more important than football. And it wasn't long after that Arsenal game, this was, so we were beginning to change and evolve as this team. But then that happened. But then, okay, our world almost stops, and all it's about is Tom and his family. But the Premier League doesn't stop, and the rest of the world doesn't stop. So, okay, there's all this noise about what's gone on, and I know because we're in the Premier League now, it goes global and it reaches everywhere. But yeah, our fixture's not going to be called off on the weekend because of it. So we had a few days to try and make sense of it, make sure, first of all, he was all right. But then we got to prepare for Newcastle at home, the game after. And I think the way that we, the team, dealt with it and that whole situation, I'm proud of everybody. I needed help around that time. I had to lean on people around me. And yeah, but the way we sort of dealt with it was from Gary, the CEO, so at the very, very top, right the way through to everybody in the medics who were the real heroes. Yeah, incredibly proud of the whole football club.
What are your memories of the game and the moment that it happened? Because from my memory, you were very quickly on the pitch, weren't you?
Well, after what happened at Wembley, obviously then there's a you just click into gear, do you know what I mean? But this was, I could tell, and we could all tell very quickly, this was different. It just looked so much more, and it was so much more serious. So yeah, it was just like, just ran on. Some of the players were incredible. Bournemouth players as well were incredible, and cleared the way and got people on really, really quickly. And then the medics were allowed to go and do their thing. It was harrowing. It was, because it was silent. It was deathly silent. Tom's fiance was then on the touchline, and people are trying to comfort her, and the medics are working on him. And it was really difficult. Now the game's gone, and once they'd brought him around, once they'd restarted his heart, and then he was, it took a while obviously, and then they got him off, and they're looking after him. I got to be honest, then I was a wreck inside. I remember speaking to the players and saying, look, I'm supposed to lead you now, I'm supposed to know what to say, but I don't. There's supposed, there's another half an hour of a game to be played. I can't lead you in that. I can't right now. And the lads were incredible. I mean, I then was sort of checking on Tom, and then sort of around, and some of the players said to the staff, let's do it, we can do it now, we can do it for him right now. It was one or two of the lads that felt like that, but then
to carry on the game.
Yeah, but then some of the lads were, I could see it was spaced out and just not with it, and it wasn't the right thing in that moment, and for their players as well, and everybody. But yeah, it was. I needed everyone. I needed the staff. I needed Gary as well to be able to sort of almost then manage that whole situation, because it affected me right there and right then, and I needed a few days to be able to try and make some sense of it. What helped was fairly immediately after I was able to go to the hospital and see him and sit up and talk to him and give him a hug and see that he was okay, and that helped me that night. Within an hour or two. So I was able, once I knew he was okay, I was able to start dealing with it, Yeah.
But we are sense-making machines, as you say, that we have to try and put it into some kind of order in our own head. So in that couple of days afterwards, how did you make sense of it?
Did you know that less than half of Brits eat breakfast every day of the week? I mean, that's amazing. But why? Well, it's because we're all time poor, especially in the mornings, so we compromise. My fix is Huel's nutritionally complete high-protein shake, a complete meal in a bottle that slots perfectly into my life. Head to the link in the description for a free t-shirt on your first order with Huel. How can you resist that?
Yeah, it was difficult. Once we knew he was okay and he was on the mend, and then he was going to be getting moved and be, in great hands. Obviously, that eased the worry. So the plan was always to give everyone a couple of days after that game anyway, because the way the schedule worked, we were going to have a couple of days off anyway and get ready for the next game, which was Newcastle. We ended up sticking to that plan. I needed a day or two. I mean, obviously there'd be some calls or text messages and things like that, but I think everyone probably needed a little bit of time. But I remember then speaking to Gary, our CEO, into the second day, and saying, look, Rob, he was great and he wanted to help, but he was also saying, Rob, we need you now as well, and the lads will need you as well. Sticks with me. I remember that conversation really well, and I thought, okay, I know, and I'll be okay, and I'll be fine. I'll be able to do that. So the way then, we wanted to be able to support the boys, so we had sporting chants that came in. We knew we had that organised so that we could we could get professional help if needed. We didn't want to force it on anyone, but we wanted to say, look, we're here if needed. Is numbers and everything else. And I think one or two people were leaned on that as well, and everyone deals with it differently. The way I then dealt with it was, once we got everyone back in a couple of days later, was I wanted to talk about Tom. I wanted to talk about what he means to me and how then we were going to move forward. So the first thing was, right, he's okay. And this is where he's at the moment, to reassure one or two people, because the lads would have heard from him and texted him and spoke to him. Some of them his closest mates, and some of them wouldn't have as much information on it. So he's okay. He's in good hands. And then I wanted to talk about him and him as a man. And I just thought, what I didn't want to do, and I think I said this in the press, I didn't want to be selfish with it. I didn't want to see it or try and use it as fuel or motivation to win a game of football. I thought that was selfish, and I didn't think it was the right way to be. I would never want to do that. But I knew Tom would want us to win, and the lads are still competitive beasts, and we're going into a game of football. We want to try and win a game of football. But I wanted to talk about him and what he means to me, and what he embodies as a person. I wanted us to try and use that, what he is. He's not the quickest, he's not the biggest, he's not the best technical player in the world, but he's fought to get himself from the National League to be captain in the Premier League, scoring a goal at Goodison Park. He is someone who makes the absolute most out of what he has got. He's brave, he's the bravest person I know, and he's honest, he's determined, he's a fighter, and I wanted us to embody what he is. And I spoke about that with the players. You won't be surprised, I got emotional again, because my wife hammers me, because all I seem to be doing is crying over this last 18 months when I've been. So I opened up a little bit, but talked about embodying what Tom is, but really being careful not to use it as a selfish motivation tool or something. And I think after that, it was good. I managed to get a few things off my chest, talk about him. We all knew he was right, and then it was, okay, let's focus. Let's get on with what the job is here. He would want us to go and win this game. Let's go and do it.